の穴かっぽじってよーく聞け。俺は安い国なんぞのために戦ったことは一度たりともねえ。国が滅ぼうが侍が滅ぼうがどうでもいいんだよ。俺は昔から今も昔も俺の守るもんは何一つ変わっちゃいねえ。
What is a hero? In the world of manga and anime, particularly of the shonen variety, the term hero is made to fit a surprisingly narrow mold. A hero is good, just, brave, pure of heart, and yes, heroic. He's strong, although he may not always start off that way. Shonen Jump, the holy bible of manga readers, narrows the field down even further. In its hallowed pages, a hero's almost always a young boy, usually a teen on the brink of adulthood. Think along the lines of Luffy, Naruto, Ichigo, or dozens of other shonen protagonists. Teenage boys are, after all, the magazine's target audience. A Jump hero's also almost always someone with a dream or an ambition and the drive to accomplish it. Someone who loves an adventure. Someone with talent, untapped, and brimming with potential. There are few exceptions to this rule, especially in 21st century shonen anime, with the exception of Gintoki, that is. First of all, the protagonist of the Gintama series is not a young boy, but a man in his late 20s. And age isn't the only differentiator in this. It's clear from the first episode that Gintoki has few heroic qualities and way too many bad habits. He picks his nose, is lazy to a fault, likes to gamble, cross-dresses on occasion, and isn't above a dirty trick or two. He's got no great dream or ambition and absolutely no appetite for an adventure. You could say he's the least Jump-like hero, despite Gintama spending 15 long years on the magazine's pages. And yet the success of the manga and, more so, the anime has ensured that Gintoki is a household name today, not only in Japan, but across the world. He may not bring out the same emotions our young heroes do as we watch them struggle and grow into these larger-than-life characters, but he does have the ability to crack a smile out of us with little effort. So what makes this oddball an essential presence in an overcrowded galaxy of superheroes? In today's video, we'll try to figure out the answer to this puzzle and take a good look at the enigma that's the silver-haired samurai. As most of us even the slightest bit familiar with Gintama know, this long-running series is a rare phenomenon, a game-changer even. First off, it has an unusual theme as it mixes history with science fiction, taking wild liberties with both. The story of Gintama set in a feudal Edo, the old name for the present-day Tokyo. It references an actual period of turbulence in Japanese history when the old order of powerful samurai clans sought to resist the advent of modernization. In Gintama, this modernity is replaced by the technological advancement and development brought to Edo by invading aliens called Amanto. So basically you have samurai dressed in traditional robes and spaceships existing side by side. Apart from its samurai meets space theme, what sets Gintama apart from other anime is its liberal use of humor and parody, and its lack of a definitive storyline. Instead, you get episodic stories, almost all of which are gags and parodies. This is a rather novel concept in itself. There are some serious arcs, of course, but these are short by anime standards and never quite free of the show's special brand of humor. An earlier video I did on this channel delves into these very aspects of Gintama as it explains why the show is worth a watch. Go ahead and check that one out if you haven't done already. Getting back to the current topic then, like Gintama, its chief protagonist Gintoki is a bit of an oddity. You could even call him a misfit. For one, there are two distinct sides to him, the good-for-nothing slacker and the occasionally dependable champion. It's the former with which we most associate him. In this role, Gintoki is a samurai in retirement who runs an odd jobs agency out of his rented house in Kabukicho, the entertainment district of Edo. Business is slow because the boss is either snoozing on his couch all day long or reading the latest edition of Jump when he ought to be working. Both his sidekicks Kagura and Shinpachi frequently complain of not being paid their wages. With business being the way it is, Gintoki's behind on his rent as well. All of this doesn't seem to bother him much though. As he puts it, not having money is like having a sinus infection. It goes away if you don't pick at it. As long as he can afford to buy his Jump, drink his sake, and eat a parfait every now and then, he's perfectly content. There are a few secondary characters in Gintama whose primary purpose in the series seems to be to drive home just how big of a lost cause Gintoki is. There's his chain-smoking landlady Adose, forever griping over unpaid rent, and the homeless Hasegawa, who used to be a top government officer but now lives out of a cardboard box in a public park. His presence in Gintoki's life is a constant reminder of just how precarious the samurai's own existence is. But every so often, the show switches gears and brings out serious Gintoki. This cooler regular version, minus the trademark dead fish eyes, is a lot closer to the dictionary definition of a hero. Serious Gintoki's a skilled fighter who can take down the strongest opponent with just his wooden sword. He's honorable, willing to fight against injustice, even if that injustice isn't directed at him. Think of the number of times he's helped the Shinsengumi out of a tight spot. First in the Shinsengumi Crisis arc, when he helps the special police force quell an internal conflict that threatens to swallow them whole. Then again in the Farewell Shinsengumi arc, when the force is disbanded and its leaders sentenced to death for a crime they didn't commit, and he helps them break out of prison. Both are considered among the best serious arcs in the series. The heroic side of Gintoki also brings out his loyalty and attachment to Kabukicho and its residents. Even when the town's in crisis, he is its biggest champion, its strongest protector. We see this in the way he stands up to the Armanto, and in the way he fights to keep the peace when Kabukicho's top 4 honchos go all out in a battle for supremacy in the Excellent Four Devas arc. What's more, these arcs serve to impress viewers with some great fights and action scenes, introduce some memorable villains, and take the show in a more conventional direction. The one thing Gintoki does have in common with most Jump heroes is a backstory. In the not-so-distant past, Gintoki used to be a legendary battle hero and warrior feared as the White Demon. It's an identity he's all but abandoned, but it remains a part of his life. It explains the current state of his relationships, it informs many of his decisions and actions in the present, and as such it adds layers to his character and gives him greater depth, making the loser tag he wears a lot less permanent. Let's talk a little more about Gintoki, the unconventional hero. This is an aspect Gintama uses rather cleverly, not only to drive home the fact that it's different from other shows, but as ammo for its parody machine. Take for instance the fact that Gintoki doesn't have a signature move as most shonen heroes do, like Naruto's Rasengan for instance. So what you get instead is the samurai secretly practicing his Kamehameha in a parody of Dragon Ball hero Goku's trademark energy attack. Then there's Gintoki's weapon of choice, a simple wooden bokken, something associated more with sword training and the martial arts of Kendo and Aikido, and not really used as a weapon in battle. Not only is Gintoki's sword unremarkable, it's also nameless. Well, it does have the words Lake Toya inscribed on it, because it was supposedly bought on some kind of class trip to this place, but that's hardly a name now, is it? And this goes against the grand shonen tradition of giving weapons elaborate names and special powers, a point Gintama once again makes when it dedicates a mini arc to a spoof of Ichigo's sword Zangetsu and the intense training the teen hero of Bleach endures under the tutelage of his sword's manifested spirit. In the Gintama arc, a suspicious stranger named Toyako with a striking resemblance to Zangetsu offers to teach a reluctant Gintoki his ultimate move and is mercilessly rebuffed. What's even more sacrilegious to the shonen order of things is that Gintoki has broken his sword multiple times and replaced it each time with a new one via a TV shopping program. And he also asks that the Lake Toya inscription be added to each replacement. If one were to make comparisons, this would be akin to Ichigo trading Zangetsu for another sword, but all this is fair game in the Gintama universe. And to Gintoki's credit, he does raise hell with his mail order weapon, cutting down space pirates, monstrously strong aliens, and anyone else who gets in his way.
美しく最後を飾り付ける暇があるなら最後まで美しく生きようじゃねえか
Despite his obvious shortcomings, what raises Gintoki's stature as a hero are his relationships with other characters and the way he goes out of his own way to help each one of them when they're in a pinch. Despite his squabbles with Otose, he's deeply protective of the old woman and looks out for her like a son would look out for his mother. Similarly, he's a father figure of sorts to Kagura, a young Yato girl who's run away from her troubled family life in a distant planet and is naive and childlike in spite of her tough exterior. To Shinpachi, he's like a brother and guardian, even if he sometimes sides with Kagura to gang up on him. Because he cares, Gintoki often meddles in the family affairs and personal lives of these people, like when he stands up to Kagura's father Umibos, who also happens to be the world's fiercest alien buster, or when he helps Shinpachi out when an old family friend's secret poses a danger to him and his sister Otai. This in turn means that the youngsters look up to him, even if they're not always charitable in what they say about him. They've also inherited many of his qualities, including his habit of helping others, and that's what being a hero's all about, isn't it? Having a deep influence and impact on other people's lives. In the course of this long series, many other characters receive Gintoki's help and friendship, including the earlier mentioned Shinsengumi. Having weathered many storms together, Gintoki's developed a strong friendship with Hijikata, the police force's vice commander. Unlike Gintoki, Hijikata's a disciplinarian and takes his job very seriously. But despite their contrasting personalities, the two men share a bond of mutual respect and admiration built on infallible trust. Affiliations mean little to Gintoki, which means he can be friends with the Shinsengumi and also its top target, the terrorist and rebel Gatsura. Gatsura can bank on his former classmate to have his back, whether it's in a dangerous situation or a foolhardy scheme, both of which happen a lot in Gintama. Hijikata and Gatsura are important recurring characters in this anime, but many other not so important characters also count Gintoki as a friend, right from the shogun to the hosts, cabaret girls, drag queens, and gangsters of Kabukicho. Gintoki also gets his fair share of female attention, actually way more than any other shonen hero that comes to mind. Otai considers him part of her family. She tends to him when he's injured, threatens him with violence when he acts recklessly, and even lends him her favorite umbrella. Similarly, Gintoki shares more than a shared fondness for alcohol with Tsukuyo, who guards the courtesans of Yoshiwara and is more than Gintoki's match in fighting prowess. The two are awkwardly sweet around each other, which might have led some fans to fervently hope for romance to bloom between them. Not that their sparring, blushing relationship is less enjoyable to watch. If that isn't adequate attention from the ladies, Gintoki also has his hands full with a full-time stalker, the obsessively infatuated Satjan, who might pop up in his closet or even his futon if he's not careful. And let's not forget Getsuno Ana, the weather girl he has a big crush on and he once hoped to marry. Despite his crassness, Gintoki is comfortable being around women. He can even be chivalrous at times as well. We see this when he takes the robot maid Odama out on a date because she's never been on one, and buys her a sweet memento of the day. He also shows a surprisingly deep understanding of Kyubei's gender conflict, which arises out of having lived as a man all her life and having developed romantic feelings for her childhood friend Otai. What all of this means is that Gintoki, as we know him, is a bit more complex than we give him credit for. We know that he's a slob and an idler, has little ambition, likes to piss off people by calling them names, can be childish, petty and boorish, and a cheat at times. But he's also free-spirited, loyal, protective, and undiscriminating. He always sees the good in everyone, even his adversaries, and he can be really brave when the need arises. That's the kind of hero you want by your side, not an overpowered one-dimensional MC. What do you think? Do you agree? Well, that's it for today. I hope this video has given you something to think about. If it has, drop me a line in the comment section and let me know your thoughts. Write to me if you think I've missed out any other aspects of Gintoki's character, and if you enjoyed the video, hit that like button. You can also subscribe to ViniiTube Kai in case you haven't already. It's my endeavor to bring you more character studies and deep dive theories from the fascinating world of anime. So thanks for watching, stay safe, and keep an eye out for my next video.